What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gershwan,
aka
Bolitas.
That. I don't know. That just feels very heartwarming and childish, but
That's why I like that nickname. Because before the filming started, I asked the Sound Alchemist a question. I put question in front of my question because that's what you're supposed to do.
We do this even in real life.
Yeah. And then I asked him, if you can pick your nickname, what nickname would you want to have? And for me, I would want to be called Bolitas. I think that sounds funny.
And it's like, because we used to work at like a restaurant, and it's like people always have nicknames. Like, and anytime you have like, I think just Hispanics in general, they always call you by nickname, whether you want to or not, whether you have one or not.
That's
and I
true.
think it's just part of the culture.
That's so true, because that crew called me El Niño, because I was the youngest one.
I don't know why, but there's a corn star that is called El Nino.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why.
No, but this was back in like
Back before.
2007.
Back when he was El Spermita.
Yeah. He was still a little kid. What did they call you?
That's a good question. Wow.
Yeah, this is a long intro.
For the greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. Now, we still have the question that's floating of what nickname would you like to...
That is true. Because I didn't really answer that.
Yeah, so...
Maybe Vergin?
That's a good one.
Like
Serafin, but with ver in front of it.
I don't know.
This question comes from Nikoe. How strong are the Rak Gol as an organization? Do you think the Tau or the Eldar would potentially be able to conquer them? So, for all those that don't know, the Rak Gol is a xenospecies that is usually in the Calixis sector, or I forget what it's called.
That's a cool nickname. Calixis.
Yeah. And so these guys are basically like proto-Tyranids, kind of.
Kind of.
In just in appearance, not in like the hive mind or anything like that. They don't really communicate with other intelligent races. They communicate with themselves, and they have space travel capability and stuff like that. But for the most part, no other Xeno race has been able to like form some type of alliance with them. Other than every now and then you'll have a Corsair who like they're part of like a Corsair band, so they do become mercenaries and stuff like that. But as a whole, the Empire itself is not really, it's kind of fractured, and not much is known about them. We have a 40 Facts video on them. Check it out if you are interested.
Yeah, but basically think Randall from Monsters, Inc., just grimdark.
Exactly, yeah. And your question is, how strong are they? They're, as an empire, they're weak.
Because they're not really united.
Right. And if they are, like, it's somewhere deep in, like, an area of the Calixis sector that's supposedly, like, covered by warp storms and stuff like that. But because of the fact that they're not organized, that makes them successful. And no organization, so like the Imperium, the Tau, or the Eldar, there's no way that they can kill the Rak Gol, because the Rak Gols are pretty much like pests. They're everywhere.
If they were unified, then they basically have a huge target on them.
Yeah. And yeah.
But yeah, I mean they aren't primitive. Like there are some images that you see them with like hand cannon arms and like bladed arms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a pretty cool concept. And when I think of the Rak Gol, I think of like the Zotes, because that's kind of similar to it. And there is a Zote model that GW put out. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, probably last year. But yeah. Next question.
This one is by Pedro Revici. I was wondering about the nature of chaos in relation to nirvana, not the band, but the state of non-existence. While a concentrated belief can cause it to manifest into the warp, how would certain beliefs like Buddhism and Jainism affect the warp, since generally, from my understanding, many followers don't worship any particular god, but seek nirvana? Also, how would the Imperium view such beliefs?
So it's all about emotions. Nirvana, like if you are somebody who believes in achieving nirvana and Buddhism and like just it's basically attaining oneness,
Tranquility.
through the actions that you perform. Those people still feel angry. Those people still feel sick. They still feel all that kind of stuff, and that still feeds the chaos gods.
Right. How would the Imperium see that? I mean, as long as they're still praising the Emperor, or it looks like that way, they could do whatever they want.
Yeah, the best example is the Promethean cult on Vulcan. No, not Vulcan. Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the Vulcan's home planet?
I want to say Nocturne.
Nocturne, there it is.
Is it Nocturne?
Yeah, Nocturne. So on Nocturne, the religion of the people back then was very like primitive. But what happened was that when the Imperial Creed came in, they fused together, and now you have like this weird prototype called the Promethean cult, and that's what would probably happen with the followers of Buddhism, or like who are trying to achieve nirvana. They're trying to achieve oneness with the Emperor, probably, right. or they'll just get killed.
Yeah, depending on how stoic and how like forceful they are on their beliefs. Because you could always lie, but you could maybe think lying goes against what I should be, practicing. Like, why should I hide what I believe in? Then, yeah, that'll get you probably killed in the Imperium.
Yeah. You know what I noticed? Because most religions are basically just trying to achieve that same concept of, like, oneness. Like, you are trying to have an ego death through learning that, or through giving yourself over to like Jesus Christ and Christianity. At the end of the day, like I think that though that is the core of the teaching, like you and the person next to you are the exact same person, and you're supposed to treat each other, with like
respect,
one, and
an eye for an eye. Well, no, not an eye for an eye. More like treat others the way you want to be treated.
But that's like every single religion. The only thing that changes is how you achieve that, and I think. Through Christianity, it's like you're supposed to believe in Jesus. Through
the Imperial Creed, you believe in the God Emperor.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, another point that I wanted to bring up was that though all these things, all these religions, there's nothing there. Like there's no actual God. Whereas in 40K, there is. Yeah. There is. So like when you have a worshiper of Slanesh, Slanesh is actually giving him powers. Whereas you don't really have that in reality. Like it's not like just because I pray to, Allah, I'm gonna have a tentacle arm. No, that doesn't happen.
You gotta pray to Cthulhu for that.
Exactly, and even then.
Yeah, which also brings in the question of like atheism in 40K. Like, is that possible?
Right. Yeah. In the Imperium, no. Like you have to believe in the God Emperor. But if you are a non-believer, like if you don't believe in any god, you still have emotions.
Right, and that's still feeding the chaos gods.
Yeah, so
which in that world I think it'd be a lot difficult to just say those don't exist.
Yeah.
If you're aware of it. Because obviously not every imperial citizen knows of like chaos gods and stuff like that. So if you don't know, then you can't know what you don't know.
Yeah. And I think another cool thing is like we need to start changing our concept or our definition of what God is, just in general. Like not even just in 40K is an excellent example because like the Chaos God Khorne, like he's a god, but he's also an entity. Like he is an actual thing, which is different than like when we think of like an all powerful. Like when we say God, we mean all powerful. Khorne is not all powerful because Tzeentch gets him in check, Slanesh puts him in check. So like that concept of what a god is should change.
Well, in my opinion, there is no way that omnipotence can exist.
Right.
It's like one of those what are they called? Like those loops where if he is all powerful and all knowing, why would he create evil and like all this stuff?
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, I hope we answered the question.
Yeah, I think so.
Next one.
This one is by Heron Royer. Alicia Keys or Bridget B?
Alicia Keys.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you bring Bridget B home, like, your dad's going to know her name before you introduce her to him.
Yeah, but if you bring Alicia Keys, you'd have to explain, no, she was really big back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. She's with Swiss Beats, right?
Yeah. She's still doing something. I think...
Every now and then I see her, like, pop up and, like, making new music or, like, producing something.
I think Alicia Keys is better than Beyonce. I just think Beyonce's team made her more successful.
Destiny's Child?
Well, no, like
her like management and all that.
Yeah.
Her social media.
Yeah.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, basically, yes. Next question.
This one is by A all the way to Z. Too much information about the old ones and the early history of the universe. Mystery fires the imagination. If you explain away something, it is less effective at creating the atmosphere. Thoughts?
I agree. Because we have said it in the past, like, oh, we wish that the old ones would get more explanation. Or like the Lost Primarchs and stuff like that. But no, yeah. Like, I think the mystery of it is more powerful.
I mean, look at what it's done for the Lost Primarchs. All these like fan created things, and it's like if we actually knew what they were, we probably wouldn't have all this stuff.
Yep. An example of GW fucking that up is when now they're starting to put out more lore on the Lost Legion, or not the Lost Legion, the Legion of the Damned. Whereas before it was kind of like a mystery. Are they simply the Firehawks that were like trapped in the warp and stuff like that? Whereas now like, we're getting very defined answers.
I mean, look at what happened with the Exorcists. This whole time people were theorizing, oh, it's got to be the Grey Knights. Imperial Fists. Like,
yeah, that's lame.
Sometimes when you actually find out the truth, it's like, well, it was better when I imagined it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like when they say, like, don't meet your heroes. Like, you see them on TV and in the movies playing this, like, bigger-than-life personality or character. And it's like, that's the thing. They're just playing. They're actors. Like, that's not who they really are. So if you meet them and it's like, oh, well, this dude's an a-hole, or like I thought you were, better than this. It's like, no, I'm just, regular Joe.
Yep. That's why I'll never go to mini wargaming. I don't want to meet my heroes. And I'm lazy. Yeah. Next question.
This one is by Cesar Fernandez, or Caesar. I don't know. If the warp existed in real life, would God and Satan have a presence in it? Trying to start a big Chungus cult.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of people believe in, obviously, Christianity. So, yeah. Same thing with, like, all the other major religions, like Buddhism. I'm blanking.
Islam.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of religions that, like, a lot of people pray to. So, obviously, those would all manifest in the warp.
Yeah. Not as strong as the Emperor, though, because you have to remember that there are trillions of people in one hive city.
Right. And it's like you have multiple worlds of these.
Yeah. So the next question comes from Haynes Hookah. How valuable are orc teeth? How many do you need to buy a slugga and a choppa? It really depends on the orc selling you the slugga and the choppa. Like, supply and demand dictates if there's more teeth in that planet, or if that culture, they're called tribes. So if the orc tribe has more teeth than equipment, then all of that kind of stuff changes. But it's basically like cryptocurrency.
It's all based on faith.
Yeah, it's all faith.
Because
teeth deteriorate, don't they?
Yeah, orc teeth, yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those, like, at the end of the day, I mean, we're all invested in Bitcoin, but it could just go to zero someday.
Because there's no physical Bitcoin. And even if there was, like, the dollar could mean nothing tomorrow.
That's true. That's another thing, too. It's less likely for that to happen than Bitcoin going to zero, but yeah.
Right.
Which, by the way, if you guys haven't bought Bitcoin, go for it. Also, there's a token called SafeMoon that's been pretty successful. If you guys are into cryptocurrency and stuff like that, you guys should check it out.
SafeMoon?
SafeMoon. Yep.
Is that like a new orc clan?
SafeMoon. Like the bad moons, but safer.
Ah.
They're cautious.
What color are they?
Oh, they're white.
Ah.
I wonder what white does.
This one is by Mr. Hot Take. Do Necrons have the ability to resurrect corpses and dead robots like Tau suits and dead space marines like in some artwork and I think in one game? Not that I'm aware of.
Who?
Like Necrons, they can't resurrect dead like machinery or like corpses. They're not necromancers, even though that's kind of what they're based on. They resurrect because of their living metal bodies, which are tiny like microorganisms that are like robots. That's why.
Technically, we are.
Mm-hmm. We're more other organisms than ourselves.
Exactly. Yep. I just did a 40 facts lore on the orcs versus the Necrons, and it showcased how when you're fighting the Necrons, their regeneration capabilities are just it's deadly.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to get past.
Right.
And even on the tabletop, because they have reanimation protocols, that shit is annoying.
You can bring a resurrection orb and make it even more annoying.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, my whole army just shot at you, and because like I didn't wipe you out, now I have to do it again.
Yeah. When it comes to battles on the tabletop, that effect is worse at the end of the game. Because at the end of the game, your army's already like reduced to like this very small amount, and then you're fighting a Necron player, and then you like wipe out like 5 of his Necron warriors, and then next turn 4 come back, and it's just like, oh god,
Yeah.
I don't want to play anymore.
And it's like, oh, I finally killed 5. My troops outnumber your troops. Well, 4 of them came back. I got the objective again.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Good for the Necrons though.
Yeah, I mean, but that also makes them a little bit more expensive, like points wise. So maybe you'll beat them in more models than what they have.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Next question.
This one is by Yarshman. Have there been any notorious or remarkable Genestealer or Chaos cultists?
Oh yeah, there's been a lot.
You got that one Billy the Kid Genestealer?
With the guns.
Yeah, he's got revolvers.
Yep. The Genestealer Cult is just something that I want to really explore in the lore. I noticed that we haven't done that, and they got so much lore when the Genestealer Codex came out.
Yeah. I really liked the artwork that came out with like that new like wave of Genestealers. It reminded me of like Akira, and just having like that big like Genestealer like statue in the back looked really badass.
Yep.
But to me, it's like, if you're playing a Genestealer Cult, just play Imperial Guard, because that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, they never really, like, they never stood out. Like, I was never interested in them.
The thing about the Genestealer Cults, and that's what I was saying, is that there are a lot of special characters that they're not unique in the sense that they're named characters, but they're unique in the sense that, like, you don't really have... It's almost like they have a mini Inquisition. Because, like, if you remember, back in the day, the Inquisition was its own little army, but it was mostly just characters.
Yeah, which is weird.
But characters that you build, yeah. And I feel like that's what's happening now with the Genestealer Cult. But we'll talk about it more in the coming days and stuff.
Yeah.
Next question comes from TSL Frontman. Why did we get a chunky snakebite unit instead of the death copters we deserve? Also, where are the beef dakas? Where's the beef daka? So the reason we got snake bites is because snake bites are cool, and they're unique to like
What orcs?
the line.
Yeah, because when you look at the orc line, it's a lot of like mix match junk.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I like that, and plus we have Death Copters already. The Death Copters that came in that one box set, I think it was Assault on Blackreach,
10 years ago.
but they're amazing. They look really awesome. I was painting some recently. I created a video, and it was just so much fun because the details are awesome. You can still get them on eBay too.
I was about to say, how hard are they to find?
You can find them on eBay for pretty cheap. I bought a set of 20 for like $50. This was a while back, but
that's not bad at all.
yeah.
Any number of 20 for $50 of anything 40K is a good deal.
Yeah. And then do you have one last question?
Yeah, sure.
I have one from D Stonks.
That's the one I was looking at. Yeah.
Would you like to see a Luchador Space Marine chapter? Yes, I'm surprised that we haven't seen one. Like I should make one.
Call them like the Mucha Luchadores.
Yeah,
They
that
have
was
like Ricochet and the Flea.
the Flea. That was
And when you play them, you gotta talk very like this, like you're Cheech and Chong.
we have friends that sound like that.
Because they're doing it on purpose, or because that's how they talk.
That's
The
how
world may never know.
That's how they talk.
That's how they talk.
I've tried talking to them normally. But yeah.
Do they still have that inflection when they speak English?
I don't know.
They don't speak English.
They don't. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys for listening.
Keep those questions coming, and we'll see you guys in the next one. This is
Kershaw.
and the Sound Alchemist out.